Hi folks, GDK Retro here. Again, a little late into the process for this, but I figured I'd film a bit of a video. Not going to film every single little part but about this whole thing, but I just wanted to say I picked up a huge lot. A local guy had a whole bunch of quote-unquote broken consoles, not working, whatever, which is quite often what you'll find. People just don't know what to look for, how to repair them. So they will list them as broken. I was selling them originally for $10. Actually ended up getting them for free. There were two SNES units. There were actually two N64 units. A PS1 with DualShock controller. A memory card for the PS1. A N64 Game Boy transfer pack, which I will show you, and a couple of other tiny minor accessories that I don't have here right now, adapters, that sort of thing. None of it came with cables, but for free, can't go wrong. In this process, I've actually gone a little bit ahead, so you're seeing it not quite right at the very beginning. Again, there was a second N64. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the unit. It actually had the jumper pack already in it, just like this one. Plugged it into my spare power unit, everything perfectly fine. PS1, other than the open lid is a little sticky, doesn't catch all the time, it works perfectly fine. Both NES's, power port broken. Beyond that, didn't know the state of those. But biggest downside of this whole thing, though, they came from a fairly heavy smoker's location, whether in the house or there's a bunch of sawdust in a lot of these too. I'm wondering if they were being stored in a garage, again, where someone might have been smoking. That can be a turnoff for a lot of people. A lot of people don't smoke, some do, some don't. It can be a turnoff for some people, especially the smell. The other N64, again, the working one unit, didn't do any video for it, but it was actually fully disassembled, tore it down to the bare bones, and did a full cleaning inside and out on it. And I've actually sold it already. I actually traded it for a used Sega Genesis with a couple of games, a console I did not actually own. So, win-win for me. So what we're going to do in these videos here and the rest of this is not going to go over full teardown necessarily on all of these, at least at the moment. May do them as a separate video, but really wanted to go over more of the cleaning and smoke removal part, as I've been working on a couple of different ways to remove that smell from the different units. So what we're going to do it on is just something small, but it will show you some of the different techniques which I have been using to get rid of the smell and anything else on this stuff. Okay, so in this case, yeah, we're going to clean the N64 transfer pack. It's a very simple thing to take apart, not a lot of detail, but show you what we used for the different things. So we've taken this controller fully apart. It just has a couple of tri-ring screws and a couple of very small Phillips head screws. So, and taken it to different components. Again, so the biggest thing to get rid of on here is any like dirt and debris, but beyond that is the smoke smell. Sometimes you can do a basic cleaning on it, it'll get rid of the debris, but the smoke smell will remain. This is a solution here that I've started, did a little bit of research, what people recommended, so did this for myself, and I found it worked very, very, very well. In here is a mix of laundry detergent, so in this case I'm using Purell, which is available in Canada where I am. I don't know about anywhere else. I'm assuming any other one would work as well, but again, this one works for me. What is also in here is a little bit of liquid OxyClean as well. I think that maybe helps just sort of activate and clear out some of the stuff. So it's just a little bit of both mixed in water. At least on the plastic that I've tested with so far, it's pretty much completely, like I would say 98% removed any smell from the plastic in there. Again, you want to let it, put it in there, you're going to for a while to soak, and then after that you want to give it a scrub. So like in this case here, with this part, if you can get in the light there, you can see there's a fair bit of dirt and everything on this one. That's a lot of the sawdust, I think, from where this was stored. So if we get in here with a handy dandy cleaning toothbrush, I think I go through more toothbrushes since I've been working on these consoles than I do brushing my teeth now. Again, you just want to give it a good old overall scrub everywhere. Toothbrush is really good for getting in a lot of the nooks, crannies, crevices, especially on these good old handy Nintendo logos here, which are always seems to be like imprinted into the plastic itself. Again, not always a lot on the inside, depending on how sealed. Like something like this was relatively well sealed, so you're not going to get a lot of buildup on the inside, but you can get smell, surprisingly, and everything else built up on the inside. So that's what's good to sometimes take these fully apart and give them a good scrub. Beyond the toothbrush, if you want, you can use a bit of a cloth or whatever. Sometimes good just to give all the main surfaces a good scrub all over. Don't forget always little things like in here. Those sort of places are hard to reach or whatever, so I'm going to make sure to get in there. That's where your connector that goes into the bottom of the cartridge goes, so you want to make sure that that's nice and clean. Okay, we'll take that out, put that aside to dry. This is the bottom of the case, part of where the cartridge slides in. Yeah, this one's fairly grody. Trying to get you some better camera views now that I've got a little bit better display that I can see live more what I'm doing. It's tough with some of these too when they have labels. Sometimes you don't necessarily want to leave them in too long because it can soften and pull off the label itself, but it's sometimes a hit and miss. You don't want to necessarily leave the smoke and whatever else smell and lose just to keep the label. You can reprint them potentially if you wanted to. So again, there's the plastic done on there. Just going to give it a quick dry off camera here. Okay, rescue my toothbrush. I'm going to slide you off camera. Okay, so there we have one. Give this a quick little dry here. That's a major thing you want to make sure with a lot of these things too. Make sure they're dry before you put things back together. Last thing you need is a case that's got a pocket full of water and then you put it back together with your circuit board of whatever you're cleaning and you fry the board. Best would be to leave these out for a while. You can use a can of compressed air to blow off some of the extra water. Leave them out to dry for a little bit. So there are two pieces, at least of the external shell. So those are good to go. So, like to me, I can't smell a single bit of smoke on them as it is. Again, mileage may vary depending on how long, how heavy the smoke, that sort of type thing is. In a minute after we do the circuit board, I'm going to explain a next part which I found sometimes you can use it on pretty much any of the parts that you need to, which is another good way to get any remaining smell away or smell from stuff that you can't get access to. Okay, so here's the simple circuit board from inside the controller. This is the part that goes up into the top of this to plug in to the controller. Ribbon cable down into here, which is, this is where, it's just actually this way, cartridge slides into the slot there. And in this case, this one's actually relatively good. I can barely smell like any smoke at all on it. Obviously you can't dunk this in our tank of water, right? Water and electronics don't go very well together. Really the most you can do in these sort of cases on the circuit boards is rubbing alcohol. So the rubbing alcohol in most cases will get rid of the majority of your the smells off of it. Biggest thing is I found on some, if you look at them, let me get a clean Q-tip here just to show an example if there is any on this one. Because it's inside, you may not see a lot of it. Yeah, this one's not too bad. Quite often you'll find quite a layer of film. The N64 that I've already repaired and replaced, again, it smelled quite bad, and you can't smell anything on it anymore. But cleaning just even the circuit board and the stuff, I was getting a yellowy brown film on the Q-tips. So it was pulling that layer of smoke and stuff right off the circuit board. Again, opportunely you want to use 99% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. You can use 70%. That's actually what I'm using right now because I ran out of 99 and all 3 stores I went to did not have any. But it can sometimes, it has a little bit of water in it, so it doesn't always dry completely clear. It should be safe to still use on these, but you really want to use 99% if you have the ability to. You just want to clean all the surfaces of stuff. Pretty much get any of the residue you can off. Yeah, this guy's, there's a tiny bit. It's hard to tell on camera there. It's a little bit discolored on the end, but not a lot. This guy's actually pretty good there, but that'll get most of the smell off of something like that. Again, the next thing I'm going to show you guys after I finish here, again, you get into something like this. You have a plastic component on here. Well, unless you want to desolder the whole thing off, if this piece of plastic has absorbed the smoke smell, what are you going to do? You can't soak this in there. The alcohol does some on the plastic, but I find not as much. I'll get the surface film off, but not the rest of the smell. Alrighty, so this is a metal plate which goes inside and covers stuff. It looks like there might be a bit of film on here. I'm going to see if I can get any better results for camera. Still, it's not too bad. I find a lot of these shielding plates often seem to collect a lot of it, the smoke smell for some reason. Again, you just want to give it as big of a scrub. Technically, I've read with stuff that you can wash these, like you can soak them in the water and that sort of stuff. Personally, I would be leery to do that. There you can sort of see on this Q-tip a little bit there that's a little brown on the end. So it's actually had some, picking up some of the smoke. It may have protected the circuit board there. But yeah, I wouldn't put this necessarily in the water. If there's any sort of pitting or anything else on the metal itself, there's a potential of the water getting in there and it can oxidize and rust and that sort of stuff. So you want to avoid that, I think, if you can. There's one remaining trick you can do to try and get any remaining smell out of anything, and that's with these dryer sheets. Surprisingly, they don't just mask the smell with your whatever scent they happen to be. They will actually absorb a lot of the smell out of it. So in the cases of something like a circuit board, very simple. You wrap it up, covering as much of the areas as you can, especially any places affected, and drop it in a sealed Ziploc bag. Leave it for, I would say, 8 hours minimum. Longer the better, more it'll absorb out of there. You may have to do longer if it is much more of a smellier material. But other than that, I found this very effective to get any remaining smell out of anything that it needs to. For example, with the Nintendo 64, let's grab it here, on the working one that I had, was able to clean the board and everything very well, was able to take apart in the case. On the N64, these front joystick ports are attached. They do not come off. They're soldered. Well, they do come off, but they're soldered on. They're a pain in the to get on and off that way. Was able to get the smell out of the board, but it was still remaining on these. I can't dunk them in the cleaning water tank because you don't want to corrode the contacts or anything inside. What I did is I wrapped the ports on these with a dryer sheet, tightly with an elastic band, put a couple on the board just to get any of the remaining smell out of there, dropped it in the Ziploc bag for about 12 hours, and I can't smell a thing out of either of the ports. I can't smell any more of the remaining smoke, and it was definitely there after the rest of the cleaning process before I did the dryer sheets. So they worked very well in removing any of the remaining smoke smell. So it's definitely a good way to just finalize, clean up, freshen everything when you're finishing up your cleaning and de-smoking process. So what we're going to do here is just going to do a finally quick montage assemble of the transfer pack here. And there you go. Perfectly clean, restored, fresh smelling Game Boy transfer pack for the N64. Alrighty, thank you everyone for watching, and hope to see you next time.